When did the lamb get thrust out of the Lord's Supper, the memorial of Christ's last Passover? From the time of the first Passover till Christ's death, obviously the lamb was the most vital part and core of the Passover meal, its death always pointing to Christ's death for us. And herewith, as all food can be classified as bread, what was the bread Jesus gave at the special Passover, called the Last Supper, saying, "Take, eat, this is my body which was broken for you"? Was it the special lamb which died and shed its blood, and which for 1450 years vividly and perpetually pointed to Christ doing the same for us? Or did Jesus, ignoring it, take up the mere unleavened grain bread, which never lived or died, and say, "This is my body broken for you"? Although Christ's disciples, even at the time of the Last Supper, did not understand how Christ must shed his blood to save the world and what the Passover lamb really pointed to, Jesus certainly did. And, as Jesus called his own flesh, bread from heaven, John 6:51, he likewise certainly could also have called the flesh of the Passover lamb bread at the Last Supper. And yes, the lamb vividly pointing to Christ's death obviously was the most crucial bread of the special Passover, in which Jesus took up the bread and said, "Take, eat, this is my body, this do in remembrance of me." But somehow, according to modern tradition thereabout, when Jesus had the most opportune moment in all history to show his disciples what the lamb for 1450 years portrayed, he supposedly left the special bread of the lamb lay by, and rather took up the mere show bread which never lived or died, mere grain bread, eaten throughout all the days of the feast, and said, "Take, eat, this is my body which is broken for you." And such, rather than magnifying and linking the death of the lamb to his imminent death, and which for 1450 years so richly portrayed it. And even further, should we think that, although the lamb was such a vital part of the Lord's Supper, yes, for 1450 years, richly pointing to Christ's death for us, that Christ's disciples hereafter suddenly expelled the Passover lamb from ongoing Lord's Suppers? Yes, the lamb which lived and died symbolized Christ's death in our place exceedingly abundantly more than the mere unleavened grain bread. And although very likely unleavened bread continued to be a part of the Lord's Supper, that certainly does not mean Jesus broke and gave mere grain bread, and mean the bread of the lamb was thrust out of the Lord's Supper as we see today. Facts are facts, and to best follow Jesus' command given at the Last Supper to do as he did in memory of him, we need to realize what bread Jesus took and simulated and declared his body being broken for us. And yes, obviously the prepared lamb at that special moment exceedingly abundantly more than the grain bread fitted that bread. Oh God, open our eyes to heaven's truth on this and other subjects, regardless what it is and how long it may have been lost. And yes, at the judgment of the last day, may we not be found having blindly rejected facts and evidences simply because they did not fit our agenda. For without are dogs, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. Revelation 22:15. In my many years of extensive biblical research, and which God encouraged with many miracles, I found numerous religious manners stunningly wrong, and this likely simply another of those.